Dewa United was also kind of like this, and this array, they weren't really on the same page, and that chip pick was just not it. It wasn't it for Dewa United.
I would say it's a bit of both, right? Because for Dewa United, they already had the early game. As long as they played it disciplinedly, as long as they didn't play into the chaotic nature of the Hellcurt draft, I think they would have been able to get it done. They shut down Hellcurt quite early in the game, 0-2, shut Ray down quite early in the game. I believe he was 0-2 as well, and he was not getting any of the neutral objectives. But then they went on to fight. It's like they basically gave the win conditions over to Geek Fam. The Geek Fam win conditions is brawl it out, utilize the Terrify, utilize their team fighting and pickoffs in these very, very messy team fights and win out. And the fact that Dewa, not only did they give them a team fight, they gave them a messy team fight, a chaotic team fight. Kaze was all the way in the back alone up against the Hellcurt. The whole point of picking up the Novaria is, okay, we want to give vision, we want to have that map control, and we will have the Fredrin, we will have the Yuzong, and technically the entire team corral over the Novaria to protect Novaria as well. But they basically gave the win conditions on a silver platter to Geek Fam.
Of course, drafting phase, we go for game number 2, presented by the official
Wah,
tournament smartphone
kan
Samsung
Ben
Galaxy
Hellcat,
S24 series. Now, you can take a look at Dewa United's ban. They ban out the Hellcat. So this is already drawing out
Tadi
that
Novarianya
ban,
nggak main, guys.
the Matilda.
Oh, respect Ben langsung
as
Roy.
expected, right after
Hellcat,
game 1,
respect Ben.
I believe that they need to just ban this Hellcurt out. It's too much of a nuisance, and let's see now, Dewa United, yeah, I mean, straightforward, right?
Matilda.
What's the
Okay,
trade?
Matilda Drian.
Surely, and the Valentina, it seems like, right?
Valentina.
Valentina, a very good
Warat.
but even then, it's not going to be the Fredrin. They
Warat
still
again.
prioritize the Barats over the Fred.
Talking about the Fredrin, it is actually the highest win rate
Ayo Dewa, bisa
for
dong
most
Dewa.
big
Biar
heroes.
matchnya
Number
3
1,
game nih.
Fredrin, number 2 is Baxia, with a win rate of 60%. So it is undoubtedly one of the most prio heroes, but Geek Fam, they choose and opt not to pick it.
Yeah. I think right now, the fact that they have the Valentina to seal away the Circling Eagle and the Barats, that technically, I think Barats might be it's rising in prio even now. Like, the more people understand how to play the Barats, know that, you know, it's as mobile as the Fredrin, so you just have to have a little bit more of the adaptations to utilize the Barats, but Barats is very, very strong pick. But yeah, you will be giving over the Fredrin, over to Dewa, and also kind of a hyper carry
Geek
to the
ini
hands of
udah mateng
Watts
banget draftnya,
on the
guys.
Claude.
Cepet dia pick.
Expect Dewa to try to nullify any of the counters that can present itself as a threat
Kayaknya
in
udah pede
lane
gitu
against
Geek
the
nih untuk
Claude.
menang match
So,
ini.
trying to get that Brody, maybe the Roger as well, away from Chidera would be a good choice. The
What about a
Ruby
Ferris ban here?
is a good pick though. I love the Ruby pick here. Everyone on Dewa, short-ranged, very easily punished by the Ruby, and it's also good flex.
Ini masih flex
That's
Rubinya
walk up
guys.
to Geek
Bisa
Fam.
di XP
And that is
kayak tadi
where
atau
this
dipakai
Ruby,
Baloy.
which by the way can still be flexed, will come into play. Of course, a Terizla ban.
Kalau Dewa ini
To
udah
limit
pasti
Dixon is actually one of
Matilda
the
Romer,
most powerful heroes of Dixon.
Fredrin jungler
Ranging
guys.
from this Terizla back season 12, I think as well.
Yakin
Now,
Fredrin jungler.
Dewa, how do they want to dabble into this banning phase? What do they want to ban out? Will they be coning down Beloyski's options, or will
Angela
it be
nggak
another
kelihatan
ban
Angela
towards
ini ya.
another hero?
Just eliminate the options for that gold laner, right?
Yeah.
Mirko touched on the Brody ban, perhaps another gold lane ban that would make sense as a Roger, I believe here. So Brody and Roger, eliminate that out. Geek, I think they might commit a. Oh, they actually went for the Bruno. Okay, I thought that Geek maybe Faramis ban. What do you think?
I'm not a fan of the Faramis ban because they've already picked up the Valentina. If they didn't have Valen,
Geek Fam ban out the Faramis.
yeah, I don't think so because they have the Valentina.
Udah
I
habisin
feel like
opsi
they kind of
XP-nya.
want the Faramis to be picked up by Dewa to utilize it,
Tapi
but we
masih
do
ada
have a
Xbox,
comment
guys.
from Mr. Chadman.
Chadman, Chidera, we're concerned about
Apa
our points,
Xbox-nya
but
diambil ya nanti ya?
confident in making it to the playoffs. So, if you take a look at the chance to playoff percentage, we did see that Geek Fam still had like
71.
around
Apakah Dewa akan
71%.
ban
So that's pretty
Xbox?
huge for them. And of course
Very.
now, confidence is in their veins for Geek Fam. So,
Good
I think
ban
Chidera
there.
is of course going to be confident in that.
I think what they're hovering on is a good
Yeah.
ban, the Moscow. Completely forgot about that. I was talking about the Brody and the Roger, but yeah, Bruno also counters the Claude. The Moscow actually does a bit of a better
ban.
job because all you need to do is tap your skill to Spear of
Respect
Misery.
ban,
Goodbye,
respect
Blazing
ban.
Duet. You get thrown back, and even if you jump back with the battle mirror image, the Inspire with the Moskov, yeah, you're not going to have a good time on the Claude. So now the options are still available for the Brody and the Roger, the two picks we were talking about. So for Dewa, they're actually more concerned of the Bruno and Moskov, the two bullies that can actually also outscale the Claude. So for Geek Fam, now the choice is, do you want the hero that bullies and, you know, brawls, or the hero that bullies and front to back? The Brody or the Roger? Technically, they could also just go for the carry. That's also a pretty good matchup in the gold lane. They go for neither. They go for a Beatrix pick that we haven't seen in a while for Chidera.
Last picknya
But
Flex
hey,
ini
it's like
guys,
he's
bisa
confident.
XP,
Beatrix pickup, quite
bisa
interesting.
roamer,
And yeah,
atau
the
mungkin bisa
Moskov
jadi
ban point out by
jungler
Mirko was
nanti.
pretty good because this Moskov can just self-peel himself when faced the threat of a Claude or even a Fredrin that needs to walk in front of you. That Spear of Misery does help with the Abyss Walker as well. The mobility you have is so good, but they will pick up the Beatrix.
Yeah.
Question in this pickup though, will it be able to, let's not say snowball or dominate, will it be able to fare against this Claude?
Yeah, it does, especially if you go Master Assassin.
Okay,
I've been in this
see.
matchup
Lapu
actually,
Vexana
utilizing that matchup knowledge now. The Beatrix actually does quite well if you go for all-ins, but the Lapu Lapu will certainly be picked up by Dewa. That's Dixon's only other hero that we are used to seeing from him that is not Terizla or Arlet. So, oh, and the Vexana actually picked up by Dewa too. A bit more peel, but oh,
Quick pick.
Meta healer guys.
ultra healing for
Healer lawan
Geek Fam
healer,
with the
guys.
Florin.
Kita lihat siapa yang
And
akan
that's why they picked
menangkan
up the
game
Valentina
kedua.
to take the IMU away. So you
Pertama
won't have the
antara
blue. We will have a lot of
lawan
healing.
Dewa
We will.
guys.
It was a trade of two things, but it feels like Dewa United, now they are pinched into a cul-de-sac. This could be a 2-0 from Geek Fam, but of course we hope Dewa United would be able to fight back. Geek Fam, I feel like with this draft, they look much more solid. Let's see though, with the counter index.
Well, last game, the counter index and the lineup rating also favored Dewa United.
Game
So,
dipegang
I don't know if you want to be
Geek,
looking at
guys.
the counter index and lineup rating to decide ultimately who's going to take this game. No
Game
Purifies though on the board for
pegang
Geek. Meanwhile, two Purifies
lihat.
for Dewa,
Apakah
really
Dewa bisa
respecting
memenangkan
that CC.
game kedua ini guys.
Will the gods
Oke,
be
kita lanjut
punished
ke
once more?
Land of
or
Dawn.
will they be the ones punishing the Geeks? They have to save themselves for a playoff spot. Geek Fam en route to that. It is Geek Fam against Dewa United in game number 2.
Match
Let's go.
point
Geek, ayo Geek.
for Geek.
Ayo Dewa,
Bolorski
kasih match
was
terbaik
the man
kalian.
of the hour. He was
Dewa
on the
menang sih
Hellcat.
biar game ketiga nggak sih?
Now Florin last pick. Will he be able to have the same influence on or in the Land of Dawn?
Ini
This man has two alter egos. It's either him playing the healers or him just taking charge of the skirmishes with the assassin types of roams that he is able to use. And now with the Florin pick, I feel like he'll play a bit more safe and he'll just enchant his teammates with the healing that he has.
Yeah, usually with the Florin, you don't really expect the team with the Florin to actually go for neutral objectives early. They actually really like to go for the trades instead. I think that might be what Geek Fam are looking for. So Ray will technically still walk up to the turtle, but he will just be looking for a steal. If they will zone him and commit resources, they'll just back away. But yeah, Chidera actually doesn't go for the Master Assassin, so he's not really concerned of the laning, but still he's winning! Beloy Flicker, oh!
Bested
Hampir.
the flicker early, even does not connect though. That's already a huge threat for Watt to pop the Purify. So laning wise, Watt versus Chidera. Chidera has a flicker in hand.
Yeah, and this is really, really good for Chidera because we were talking about how Beatrix will be able to bully the Claude hard in lane with the Master Assassin. The fact that he's doing it with the weapon mastery means that this man is going to be a menace in the mid game. Once he gets that BOD and maybe Heptases, depending on what he wants to go for, this is a scary, scary Beatrix.
This Beatrix could really snowball quite soon, and you can see the pressure exerted towards Watt. And Luke, he's just gonna play more safe with the Ruby. He's gonna wait for the pickups that is going to be called maybe later in this stage of the game. But now, of course, the neutral objective contest, like what Rico mentioned, maybe Geek, they don't really want to go and rush themselves into the neutral objective contest. Because after this Florin, they'll choose to let it go maybe.
Matildanya nggak ngambil.
Try to shadow this turtle, so
Oh,
it
kayaknya
could be
dilepas nih
contest that
turtle
Andreas
sama
in the vicinity.
Geek.
Good setup though, already early. Dixon early, a brave spider as well. Ray will not be able to find the angle. And he will not force the first neutral objective. Goes to the hands of Dewa.
Yeah, they'll concede it, and like how we discussed, it is in the hands of Dewa United now. Geek fam,
Bawah juga di
just
bawah
play
kan.
this safe and wait for the timers,
Wajib
the power
dilepas
spikes
ini.
to come in, especially
Tas.
to this Beatrix.
Hampir.
Now it's just back to a slow build for Geek Fam and Dewa. For Dewa, neutral objective control, they should try to utilize as much as possible the advantage of the turtle, getting a bit more shielding. They want to try to look for brawls around the map, but I think Geek Fam have actually drafted it in a way where they can avoid teamfights very easily. They have so many disengage tools with the Ruby, the Valentina technically, with the Terrify, and even Ray. You just pop the Tetanus Welcome to get anti-CC and dash away. And on top of that, the Bloom. So even if Dewa overchase, there's always going to be another layer of health that you can rely on. And now
Masih
Dewa are
belum
kind of
ada
stuck. They're kind of forced to
pertempuran
play
darah
a
ini.
scaling game against Geek Fam.
Masih
Talk about scaling.
Belum ada
For
yang
Geek fam, they do have that in their pockets. It will get
Belum ada
harder
war
for
ini.
Dewa United as the game progresses, but again, this Claude could be a menace if it does touch that late game scenario. Geek fam, the way they just corral into these positions, they're pretty on point with all the movements around the map. But how long will they concede the neutral objectives? I mean, Dewa United will always have their hands first into the objectives as Ray gets his
sama
orange
Gary.
buff stolen away.
Yeah.
Very good
Gary
practice
menang
there.
level.
Bottom side will not give it on towards the fight just yet here. 4 minutes and no kills yet. Perhaps in the second turtle, both teams will find and want business. Good runner there
Ah.
by Chidera.
A lot of
Even the
poke.
emote. Did you see the emote?
A lot of
Gotcha.
poke with the...
auto
Beatrix.
aim guys,
When
sniper.
it comes to the late game, does this Beatrix control this squad or will this squad just take charge?
Nah,
You
perang
know
nih,
what? I'll
turtle
actually say
kedua
the
nih, perang.
Beatrix will have a better time in this game in particular because
perang
firstly, you
sih.
have the nature. Oh, I'm offended.
Kan.
Good knockup though by the Vixana. He's destabilizing. Looking for a setup for that turtle. Gary taunts Luke.
Lordnya mengganggu
Does
ya
not
sih.
connect on towards the damage just yet. Dixon jumps
Ah.
in.
Knocked
Knocked up here. And it seems like the turtle will fall to the hands of Gary.
Dixon.
Geek fam will not commit on towards a fight as
Ada
they
yang mati
find
dong.
no compensation for that turtle.
Again, an even game, back to square one. But the neutrals are all in the hands of Dewa United. You can see a boy
Dixon
would
bagus
always have
nih,
that
guys.
extra
Kena
peel
4
with
gitu.
the IMU when stolen towards Cage with the Vexana. So you have that extra lord that
beda
can
dua
help you and
level.
assist you in the skirmishes later on.
Great disengage tool, like we said, for Geek Fam. So they technically can try to be proactive, but in the end, they can just back off if they need to. And that's what we saw from Dewa. But back to the question at hand, the Beatrix or the Cloud. In this game in particular, I would have to say the Beatrix will have an easier time in the mid to late game. Why? Because number one, with a nature, so he can actually just neutralize the damage. And for Watt, you would say the same thing. He can also go with a nature miracle, but the thing is, he has to go in at the right time, like legit. For Geek Fam, like we said, they have so many disengage tools that they can technically fight forever. For Watt, he has to use the Blazing Duet
Capek ditembak
perfectly
ini,
in
ambil
this
siapa?
fight. And even then, there's a Terrify, there's an I'm Offended, there's a Don't Run Wolf Kick, there's a big Chomp as well. There's so many ways for Geek Fam to layer their damage or CC on Watt. And to add on top of that, the Renner shots. This poke from Geek Fam in towards the late game, it's gonna hurt a lot. And technically for Geek Fam, that power spike is technically almost there. Almost. Consider needs one more item, but the engage.
Oh my goodness, good taunt, good knockup as well! First blood towards Maloyski, but the trade is a little bit expensive. Chidera falls as well. Now Ray, as well as Luke, will fall. It's an ultimate wipeout. The first wipeout in the series and goes to the hands of the gods.
6-minute wipeout. We talked about how they can disengage, but when you have Dewa United in your faces, left, right, center, there is nowhere for you to go.
Dapat tower tengah
One
dong.
mistake is all it takes with no Purify. And the Beatrix step over, way over for Triana knockup. And then you can see the overwhelming CC from Dewa. The Eternal Guard on top of the taunt and the knockup. Just so many combos together. It was a wombo combo Chamro. That's what Ranger Mas used to say.
A lot of wombo combos indeed. But
Siap,
Tian
nggak
in
usah
the subject of
Retri
something.
sih.
He's gonna be
Retri
fine.
buat buff merah nih.
Orange buff contest again. Gary You have so much
Salah
control with the
retry lagi.
footprint, and you want to contest these little things in that part of the map. We're talking about how Geek Fam, they could just play this like a little game of tug of war. You could rather just poke and disengage, or when you want to step forward, when you want to engage, when all hells break loose, and when it doesn't go your way to disengage. Then again, you have to be in the right exact timing, the right exact position. If Dewa just get hold of your position, it is very hard for them to just run away. And it was proven that mid-skirmish where Dewa was able to get 5 kills, all for themselves.
Nice, hampir solo kill.
Solo practically from Chidera. Now let's see, Circling Eagle will not be committed
Hampir
there.
solo kill.
But what happened there in the bottom
Gokil
side of the
Chidera
map?
ini.
Actually, Chidera popped the flicker as well. So, yeah, Watts almost miscalculated.
But it ends up being a big win actually for Watt, right? Because he just committed the Battle Mirror Image, then he would use the Purify, and Chidera had to commit the Flicker. What happened was a big Renner Amplitude to the face, and a Flicker almost with a basic attack. But that's the damage that will continue to build for Chidera as well. Thing is, for Geek Fam, their main plan was just to weather the storm in the early game. It's all about getting to the mid to late. Now that the 4,000 gold lead has been taken away by Dewa, and now that Gary is so far ahead over Ray, actually, this might actually get tougher for Geek Fam. They might have to concede a whole lot of tier 2s before they can get to their item power spikes and before this Florin actually gets online.
Florin will be the key for Geek Fam, of course, as the game progresses. But again, man, you can look at the poke potential.
Biasanya Komo sama
And
Nova.
there with the Renner's Apathy. But Dewa, they'll be fine, of course, with Watt just being able to traverse around positions. Now, Geek Fam is approaching this together, moving in unison. You know, they try to look for a pick-off, maybe some sort of engage towards a certain member of Dewa United. But they'll have to wait again for their power spikes.
Sure. I don't think they can take fights right now. They're still quite far behind. That's a 4,000 gold lead, and Gary's 2 levels ahead. Unless they get a pick.
Dixon, a little bit too premature, but now with the blazing
Dixon
Watt
mati dong.
will try to
Dixon.
play his
Dixon.
havoc, and
Gokil.
that's a good taunt there as Watt finds one into Chidera.
Dixon
Will
yang
be
nggak mati.
taken out as well. Watt finds a double, looking for the triple as Ray is a
Game Dewa nggak
juicy
sih?
target, and the Dino falls here as Kays will lock him down. Now a boy and Luke against 5. It's a little bit too much to ask here as they are still able to hold the line.
The gods finally give away the punishment towards the Geeks. You can see how Dixon
Kurang
was
deh
the embodiment
mekanya
of
tadi
God. He wasn't dead. He was able to escape in that position.
He just took it like a man, or like you said, like a god in front. This frontlining, dealing
salah
damage
chemistry
and
tadi tuh.
soaking everything in their way. And now Gary's 3 levels ahead of Ray. He can do whatever he wants technically. I don't even think Geek Fam can really pick him off. Look who's for the I'm offended. But Gary doesn't care if he offends you, man. He's there. But yeah, for Dewa, they're utilizing that wipeout advantage so well. They're just capitalizing on every little mistake that Geek Fam are making. Geek Fam are making a whole lot of mistakes, right? They are engaging against a team with a 4,600
Game
gold
ke-1
lead.
tadi.
The fact that Dixon survived, oh
Membantai,
man,
sekarang
8-0. I think it
dibantai,
says
guys.
it all right now. Geek Fam tried to weather the storm, but the storm is eating them up.
It's way too hard. 7.6k gold up for Dewa United. Because they have to farm up their items. I mean,
Tapi masih lot
Chidera,
pertama
he already
sih.
completed Malefic Roar as well.
Harusnya masih aman sih.
The current position of Dewa United, they're just snowballing hard. And what? They're all fine and no deaths attributed towards Dewa United Geek Fam. Will they be able to hit back in this game?
Patient, man. You gotta be patient. All inners now officially taken down from the side of Geek Fam's map. Listen, see here. For the stun. Don't want to engage. Perhaps you're right now. Off HP. Luke looking for an engage. Lord now needs to be taken care of ASAP.
Hampir dipaksa.
Bennett's range.
Hold. And the Lord has been peeled away without losing that base turret. So at least Geek for something.
Good, I'm offended on towards you. Dixon now pops the bravest fighter. Actually finds this knock-up, but good flicker there by Luke. Now they want to move on towards the first base turret in the bottom side of the map. They will get it. Geek Fam will not be able to defend that one, but they will try and defend the
Tapi seenggaknya ada
main.
gerakan mereka. Guys.
Good poke around both of the teams here. You do not want to get and commit onto his unnecessary fight. Still 8-0 though. Still alive.
That was a good pull, but I don't sense where Geek Fam does have enough damage. They just don't.
Not yet. No, they're still way too behind. And I think if you take a look at the goal lead, 9,000. That's why. It's very tough for Geek Fam to actually look for damage. Because even Chidera, yeah, sure.
Beda
You
duit,
have a lot of
menit
heal, you have a lot of
12.
healing.
Lumayan jauh
But
sih
now that
dua.
the damage dealers for
9.000.
Dewa deal so much as well,
Awatnya udah
just the
seenaknya.
Lapu alone in the front with the Hunter Strike can zone you, and you technically can't also just overextend because you don't have any you don't have a Purify, right? You have to flicker out. It's going to be kind of tough. They've even now, okay, this is where they get their power spike, by the way, right? Like it's early mid game. The Florin has a bit of healing as well, but
Dia udah
I feel like it's a bit
level
too late.
maksimal.
And they've already given such a big advantage to Dewa. Dewa's already taken that advantage from
Perangin
them.
guys.
The 8,000 gold lead will mean that they have so
Tapi
much
kalau
more
di atas
map
tuh,
prio
lane
and so
atas,
much
bro.
more ways to actually take this game. Bottom lane slow pushing and Geek Fam don't really have anyone to clear. The only guy that
Lane
can
atas
clear
Geek
is the Beatrix,
seleksi.
and that's a problem. When your marksman is the guy who you need to send into the bottom lane, and it's not a mobile marksman, it's Beatrix. It's not a Claw that can just blink constantly wall to wall. He has good clear, but you can see how they were utilizing this.
Is contesting the right answer. Let's see. Oh, Nixon jumps onto it. Chidera
Dixon.
pops the bloom early. Now let's see.
Dixon's
Oh,
enak.
they're scattered, but Dixon and Gary
Dixon.
will find
Ray.
one. Ray is actually isolating, taken out as well, but Gary will be taken out. Good
Masih bisa
peel
tapi, guys.
and good
Nggak ada
disengage
jungler.
by Chidera, who was targeted
terlalu
heavily
over tadi.
by Dewa United's member. Now, Dewa though still have full control on the Lord.
A fight that looked to go the way of Geek Fam, but again, they just lost all of it. And Dewa United, the tanky front lines doing the job, just holding their lives forevermore. And Geek Fam, they're just able to get one, but lost two
tanpa
members in that exchange.
Petri guys.
And the Lord as well. It's going to the hands of Dewa United.
They finally get something on the board at least, right? They're no longer at 0 kills, but still,
Kill.
big problem for them.
Dewa.
The trade was not good enough. Man, that was a massive bonk from Gary. Luckily for Chidera, he had the win of nature on
Dixon.
time, because he would have just been deleted there.
Dixon,
Let's take a look at
matanya
Dixon. This is what
langsung
we're
ke
talking about. The
Kadera.
fact that Dixon can just go behind and do this much damage. Dude, Chidera, luckily, he
Dixon.
saved that win of nature. Because if he used
Perang
it for
terbagi dua.
Dixon, that bonk would have deleted him and Beloyski. It ended up just with Beloyski suffering the death. But now Geek Fam full defense mode. Chidera has
kedua,
Bennett,
apakah
but is
bisa
it going to be
defend?
enough?
Will the
Harusnya
threat
masih
be
bisa
enough
sih.
now with the Lord standing still in the base? Circling Eagle onto it still. The damage will come through. Watt now already hitting towards the base.
Masih
Geek
bisa
Fam
sih.
still with 5 out, and they will be able to take care of the Lord now. Focusing on towards the mid. Dewa United, they are reshifting their focus. Not on towards the base turret. They
Masih
will
ke-defend,
instead
guys.
clear the jungles.
They have good wave
Kayaknya dia
clear.
nggak mainin
The hands
3
of
lane tadi.
Geek Fam, a lot of weaponry in the pocket of Chidera. You have the Nibiru, you have the Bennets as well. To clear up the minions quite quick, so at least now for Geek Fam, they can still hold on. Dewa, there's just going to be another opportunity for them to just knock on the doors of Geek Fam. And I don't know when they'll be able to fight back.
Bagi
Their spike
tugas.
is just not coming in.
Yeah, they can't really penetrate this base. They need to slowly but surely get rid of the other base turrets for now, because to end this game, they need all 3 base
aman,
turrets
guys.
crashing in at once with a Lord, so that they can
Masih
actually
ketahan.
utilize that chaos to hit the turret. Right now, I think for the way they will end, 3 base turrets obviously, and the Lord marching down on the base, and then all of them just need to dive. They need to get some space for Watt to hit the turret, because as of right now, the fact that Geek Fam have so much peel makes it super hard for
Wattnya
Dewa
udah
to just commit
full
into
item.
that base with the 2 base turrets still standing, with only 1 minion wave pushing in to that base itself. But if we take a look at the items, Chidera is online. He has the DHS, so the Lapu Lapu won't even be able to really soak in as much damage. It really depends though. If he goes for Queen's Wings here, he can actually add on to the damage reduction of his Bravest Fighter
Damage, yeah.
to try to
Dari
soak in
Baloi
as much damage
sama
as
Matilda.
possible from Chidera. But now that a boy has also kind of reached his item power spike with the Divine Glaive, and he's already building towards a Holy Crystal that he should be able to complete very, very soon, it gets to a point where Dewa need to end things quick, or they might actually have to face off against this
Perangin nggak
mid
sih
to late
Dewa?
game composition of Geek Fam
Beda
head on in a pure 50-50
6.000.
fight. Luckily for them, it won't be 50-50.
Tapi kalau
It will
udah
still be favored to them
mid-late game
because
ini,
of the super mini wave that'll be pushing in the far lane this time. The Lord is spawning up top.
beda duit
Mean that
jauh
Dewa will
juga kayaknya
have
nggak
a lot more
terlalu
to
ini
say
deh.
here, just by
Karena
utilizing the force error of the slow
udah
push
sama-sama
building
full
in bot.
item.
I gotta say though, being 9,000 gold behind, being
Lot ketiga nih.
like map control is non-existent. Geek Fam are doing pretty decent in defending their base. Now though, potential
Nah,
engage all
digas,
the taunt.
lucunya.
They will commit.
Healing.
Bloom will be popped now. Luke looking for a disengage, and Dewa now they will have full control on the Lord.
Kiting dulu,
Let's see
kiting,
how
Dewa.
Geek Fam will try to retake the Lord's Pool.
Dia
Seems
reset
like they
lordnya
will reset it
bawah itu.
first. Help HP though, not fully, as the bottom side will be forced
Lepas sih, dilepas
to
sih.
clear.
And the bottom side is
Lordnya dilepas
pushing,
sih.
rushing towards the crystal. So this is a beat Lord for Dewa. United without contest. Circling
Nah,
Eagle.
kan.
Oh, on towards 3 as well. Now Luke being the sandbag as well as Ray. Ray will not be able to escape this time, but Bloom will save his life for some time. Now let's see here.
Healernya.
Geek Fam still
Lihat,
stands with
healernya.
5. A very good defense yet again as they were able to hold the door. I'm offended with, but now Dewa United maintaining pressure on towards the top side of the map here, as Geek Fam is actually able still to defend that one.
Look at the fortitude of Geek Fam just holding on towards their base terrace. They don't
Kailan
want
push
this to, you know, big things to just fall, because this is the line of
Harusnya-
defense, the last
harusnya
line of
MC
defense
nih.
that Geek Fam does have if they want a shot at that mid-game 50-50 fight, like how Mirko mentioned.
Harusnya
Well,
si
it's gonna
M.
have to be in their base. This might be fight or
Enggak
flight
sih.
for Geek. Oh, they can't fix it!
It's a good engage. Has the immortality though. Now
Lihat
Geek
Dixon
Fam
aja nggak
and as
mati,
well as
guys.
Dewa. Who will pull the trigger first? With the Lord now, 6-man jumping
Enggak sih.
already in the base. Good knock up.
What?
Now Geek
Crystal.
Fam will they
Wet.
be able to defend this time? And it
Nah,
seems
end
like
kan.
no. We will have a game 3 in our
Game
opening
ketiga,
match
guys.
of the day.
Seru.
The gods do strike
Game ketiga
back.
guys.
As the Geeks now, they have to undergo game number 3